There are 3 things that will get stolen from you in Japan. Your umbrella, your bicycle, and your... Japan is a country where it is rare to get anything stolen from you. And even if you lose your wallet, there is a 70% chance it will be returned back to you. However, even in a fantastic country like Japan, crime still exists, and there are things that will get stolen from you. The first one being an umbrella. Umbrellas are everywhere in Japan. People use them when it's raining, when it's cloudy, and even when it's sunny. Since literally everyone in this country has an umbrella, why do people steal them? That's a good question. The national motto in Japan seems to be Mikasa est tukasa, since every single umbrella I have owned has been stolen. I don't use an umbrella too often because I don't mind getting wet, and it's probably a good thing anyway that I get my hair washed every now and then. But every time I take an umbrella with me, it's always a gamble if it gets stolen or not. Without any exaggeration, the last time I took an umbrella with me, it got stolen. Even though I specifically hid it behind a door before I went inside to a bar in Golden Guy. I knew it would get stolen if I just left it out in the open, so I put it in the hardest to find place I could, but still it got stolen. Most of the time your umbrella gets stolen when you leave it into these umbrella stands outside convenience stores. Sure, many times it might be just an accident and someone takes the wrong umbrella because most people use these cheap plastic umbrellas that are easy to mix. But even if you have a special umbrella with your name written on it, don't count for it being safe. This umbrella situation is actually so bad that it is incredibly common to find stands where you can actually lock your umbrella so that it doesn't get stolen, which is just ridiculous. I wouldn't say that it's just a Japanese mentality that umbrellas are a communal resource and people are free to take any umbrella because the internet is full of people asking the same question. What is wrong with Japanese people and their love of umbrella theft? I mean, yeah, sure, it's probably just people who go outside and realize it's raining and they don't have an umbrella. So they grab the first umbrella they see because it's an easy thing to steal and they probably had theirs stolen before too, so they feel justified. But at the same time, every convenience store sells umbrellas for 700 yen, so why do these otherwise law-abiding Japanese think it's better to steal one from outside the convenience store than to step in and buy one for a couple bucks? Most of the time, I keep my own umbrella next to my door so that I can grab it with me if I notice it's raining outside. And would you guess what? Even from right outside my door, someone has stolen my umbrella. It is just absolutely ridiculous that I could leave my wallet outside and it would find its way to a police station. But I have to keep my $4 plastic umbrella locked in a hidden safety box behind a painting in my house if I don't want it to get stolen. The second thing that gets stolen a lot are bicycles. And I know you're probably thinking like, okay, whatever, bicycles get stolen everywhere, but not the same way they do in Japan. Bicycle theft is so common here that it makes up 1/3 of all thefts in the entire country. Bicycle theft is actually more common in here than shoplifting, and that is insane. All of this is despite the fact that Japan has mandatory bicycle registration, something that was created specifically to combat against it. When you buy a bike in Japan, you have to register it with a local ward office. You'd think stealing a registered bike would make it harder to resell or use, but there's clearly some market for it, since the problem hasn't gone away. Because of the high bicycle theft rate, it is quite common for police to stop people on bikes and ask for their registration. I've mentioned on other videos that police have a tendency to stop people in Japan as busy work. And even though they do also stop suspicious Japanese, aka those who have tattoos or a weird hairstyle, there's a much higher chance to be stopped by the police if you're a foreigner. Since the police love to stop foreigners and people who ride bicycles, the moment you combine these two, it immediately gives you 5 wanted stars for the Japanese police. When you read stories about people complaining about being stopped by the police, almost every time it happened when they were riding a bicycle. Even I myself have had the pleasure of experiencing this Japanese tradition both on bike and on foot. If this happens to you, just show them your ID and they'll be on their way. Japanese police are widely known to do racial profiling and there's not much you can do about it. I know it is extremely frustrating, but as long as you aren't doing anything illegal, they'll let you go. It is one of those negative things that Japan has, and you simply have to put up with it when you're in the country. Whenever I've talked about this in any of my videos, I've seen so many comments from internet tough guys saying how they'd totally roundhouse kick every cop around them and then everyone would stand up and clap. You're free to fantasize, of course, but my advice is to not end up in a Japanese jail. From everything I hear, it's not a chill place. Let's move on to the third thing that gets stolen from you. So the saying in Japan is that there are 3 things that will get stolen from you: your umbrella, your bicycle, and your girlfriend. We've already covered the first 2, and there was some truth to that saying. But how about the third one? On my last video, I talked about cheating in Japan, but that was more from a legal divorce angle. When it comes to strictly talking about girlfriends, I can't speak from personal experience because I'm not able to get a girlfriend in the first place. However, there are definitely some societal differences in Japan that give this claim quite a bit of validity. First of all, what counts as cheating on your partner is much different in Japan than it is in many parts of the world. In here, many people don't consider spending time with hostesses or buying, let's say, adult services as cheating because it's considered to be simply business. The most people, cheating starts with feelings, and as long as feelings aren't involved, it's not seen as a big deal. So many people consider it to be completely okay for their partner to do basically anything as long as feelings aren't involved. When you're slaving 18 hours a day at work and your partner is meeting every man under the sun, it is only a matter of time when they do catch those feelings and you get your girlfriend stolen. Now obviously, I'm not saying you have to keep your girlfriend locked up at home, but probably a healthy amount of jealousy would do good for the relationship. Why this isn't seen as this huge problem and why people are fascinated by MTR fiction is probably because in Japan, relationships are far less serious than in the West. There's this cultural pressure to marry before 30, and once you're married, that's when the real commitment begins. Relationships are to many people more like placeholders until marriage, which creates this dynamic where people try to upgrade their partners until they get married, and I've actually heard many people say dating is like children playing around. To say this in the simplest terms, dating is simply not as serious in Japan as it is in many countries. Which is why people think it's also not as serious to try and steal someone's girlfriend away. I personally don't care what thing gets stolen from me, be it an umbrella, a bicycle, or a girlfriend. I'm pissed any way you slice it. So whenever you come to Japan, be careful out there. I'm not saying any of this will happen to you with 100% certainty, but keep an eye out. Especially if you meet a cute girl, because there's no way you can register her in the local ward office.